Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of Dynamics Fortnite Fridays. Welcome, Lauren, as a new co-host. Glad to have you here.
Thank you, Bart. I appreciate it. I'll just maybe give a quick introduction about myself. I'm an SE on the F&O side in the manufacturing vertical, and I'm based out of Houston. And Dan was one of my mentors. He is sorely missed. I know he's going to leave some um, big shoes to fill, but I'm hoping that I can just do my part and take over his legacy for Fortnite Fridays.
Well, we're happy to have a stand-in for now and hopefully a permanent replacement, assuming you like doing this kind of thing. So, we always start the show with a dad joke or two. Did you find one?
I sure did. So,
Oh,
as you've heard, there's some inclement weather in Houston coming.
not
So I have
just
an
Houston.
appropriate dad joke. Everybody's freaking out. What do you call a snowman with a six pack?
Seen this one. Shoot, I forgot the punchline. What's the punchline again?
An abominable snowman.
Ah, the abominable snowman. That's right. Um, I've got one. Why did Steve Jobs send out the memo to stop farting in all the Apple stores?
I don't know. You got me.
They didn't have Windows. Oh, love the Microsoft joke there, right? Anyway,
That
so
was
let's
good.
go do a little content. Maybe that'll be more fun. All right. I should share my screen. You're seeing the screen now, I hope.
Yep.
Perfect. First thing I thought I would call out in the Power Platform realm is that one of the Microsofties, Karsten Groth, made a pretty nice WordPress post all about what it might take to build a cost-transparent chargeback model for Copilot Studio agents or other agents across your enterprise. And I am certainly not going to read this to you. It's fairly long and involved, but it's actually a pretty good plan. So if anyone is trying to set up a chargeback model in their organization and wanted some template to at least think through and see if it fits, there's one out there now. Next thing I thought I'd point out, the PowerCat team that has become slightly different anyway, but it's all Copilot Studio related, has this custom engine blog. And I thought it was quite interesting that if you want to connect Snowflake directly to Copilot Studio, that it's a little more tricky than you might think. And so since this is out here and it goes through a pretty elaborate step-by-step guide to getting all that figured out, that I thought I would post that in case that is a scenario that people would benefit from as well. For all of you who are keeping your Center of Excellence kit living, for managing all the Power Platform assets out there across your environment or environments, that there is a January update where a bunch more bug fixes have gone in. So take the January update if you're maintaining your Power Platform Center of Excellence kit. Next topic would be the Copilot Studio extension for VS Code has been out for a little while in preview, but it's now fully generally available. So use it to build real agents and throw them into production mode. You can use GitHub Copilot to help. It's got all kinds of really nice ways that if you are more of a professional coder who likes to live in IDEs that edit and code your Copilot Studio agent in VS Code and publish it back to the managed platform and move forward. That all of that is fully supported now. Use it at will. So great move forward for those people who like to do more of the code first approach to working with the things that Power Platform can bring from a platform hosting environment. There have been some really nice updates just this week put out there in both the Copilot Studio Guidance Hub and the Copilot Studio Architecture Center. So if you are building enterprise grade Copilot Studio agents, I think it is really worth taking a quick peek at both these tools, that they're sort of interconnected, but I thought I'd put a link out to each one because they are specific landing pages for each one. And the Architecture Center is a lot more of just sort of diagrams of different use cases and what Copilot Studio Architecture helped make those use cases actually light up. The Guidance Hub is a lot more of a, have you thought through all of the things you need to do to make an agent enterprise grade and make sure that it's being monitored and make sure you've got all your security things buttoned up, and what are you doing to make sure your enterprise knowledge is working the way you want it to, and blah, blah, blah. There's all kinds of great guidance out there. And since it's been redone with a whole lot more content, I wanted to make it more public. A brand new thing that just came out just a couple of days ago is Copilot Studio is now supporting a thing called multi-tenant mode, which is pretty cool because now you can actually build your Copilot Studio in one tenant and surface it in a different tenant and allow those interactions to happen, that have all of the control be in the home tenant in terms of where reporting would come back and all the rules and PPAC and all those kind of things, but allowing it to cross tenants from a usage standpoint. For those organizations that maintain multiple tenants for good reason, this should be a really big step forward. And the last thing I've got is, if you are a Power Pages developer, you probably have struggled a little bit with all of the ways that you might interact with various APIs. And if you can get it all into Dataverse through virtual tables or other ways that you might front APIs in with Dataverse APIs, then it becomes a little clearer. But we decided finally to put together a specific client API for Power Pages to do client-side development right on these web pages and make it a lot easier to do a lot of the things that typical web devs would want to do, that they were a little frustrated with the way they had to work around the Power Pages limitation. So this should help get past many of those things. This is still in preview, not ready quite for prime time enterprise grade published live sites, but start playing around with it. And if you are a web dev that wants to take advantage of it, if you like it, give us some feedback on how to make it even better. And hopefully we'll be taking it to production and generally available sometime in the upcoming weeks or months. And for Power Platform, those were all the things that I came up with over the last couple of weeks. And there was no new news published about our customer engagement apps that I could find either. So I think it's time to go ahead and turn it over to you, Lauren, to go through all of the F&O side of things.
Fantastic. Those are some exciting updates you had to share. Hopefully, I can match your energy on the F&O side. So can you see my screen all right?
I am seeing it.
All right. So first off, we have some updates in agentic AI and commerce. So Dan and Bart have been talking about this for months, the MCP, instead of writing API interfaces between all the different systems or having them bespoke or unique per process, it opens up all the 500,000 different processes with finance, supply chain, and commerce. So the new D365 Commerce MCP server that's expected in public preview in February exposes core retail business logic. So things like catalogs, pricing, promotions, inventory, carts, orders, fulfillment, as MCP-enabled capabilities. So agents can securely discover, decide, and execute retail workflows across digital, physical, and conversational channels. So just an example of some use cases here. Retail operations generally are shaped by their own merchandising strategies. Things like store formats, service models, supply chain realities are all very unique to retail. So with Copilot Studio, retailers can now build custom AI agents that actually reflect how their businesses run. So they plug directly into planning and selling workflows using MCP-powered access to enterprise systems. So inside Teams, for example, merchandising managers and planners can work side by side with these agents in real time. They can pull in things like product data, demand forecasts, supplier details, inventory positions, and pricing from D365. So collaboration is really immediate for these users. And then on the selling side, D365 Commerce MCP Server brings that same intelligence straight into the customer experience as well. So these agents can help shoppers discover products, personalize offers, check availability, reserve inventory, and even complete transactions. And then we also have, I'll scroll down here, some partner-built agents that give some really great use cases. So Amicus, for example, they have a voice-first screenware assistant that can help associates with tasks like returns, exchanges, order lookups, and policy checks. They built out an agent for that. Evenica, they have an agent that uses conversational AI and image recognition to support things like licenses and finding beverage products. Argano, they have an agent that helps retail associates improve customer relationships by delivering personalized brand-aligned interactions. Sunrise also has an agent that simplifies store operations across inventory and fulfillment to purchasing and store processes. And EnvisionIt, they have an agent that can turn natural language shopping intent into real-time retail execution across things like product pricing, inventory, and promotions. So just some examples of what can be built using MCP. It's really an incredible tool that we're really honing in on industry-specific use cases like we're going to see with retail.
Minor note along those very same lines. There have been updates made to the managed store operations agent in Power Platform realm, ready to make it ready for NRF. And it has its own store operations MCP server that helps power a bunch of that experience. I set that all up this week, so I got intimate familiarity with it, and it utilizes a lot of the commerce and other F&O inventory type transaction logs to do a lot of what it does. It's kind of a fun addition to what you were just talking about.
Yeah, I love that anecdote. That's awesome. All right, next here we have some updates in the Sustainability Manager. Lots of updates here designed to make ESG data management and calculation accuracy and reporting a lot more flexible and scalable. So, for example, we have some updates in date range support for factor mappings. So organizations can now assign start and end dates to emission estimation factors. Many emission factors change monthly or quarterly, and teams often struggle to make sure the right factors apply to the right activity. So now this update really makes picking the correct factor based on the consumption, transaction, or reporting date. And it also checks for overlapping date ranges and flags issues early. So great for data integrity there. And then with GRI compliance, we have some updates with the GRI template. It's been expanded to include optional and recommended requirements across all topic-specific and sector standards. So really great for better disclosing and just better for reflecting sector-specific realities. And then next, expanding data trails with snapshot and traceability. This is really becoming essential as sustainability reporting moves closer to financial grade assurance. So we've introduced snapshotting at the point of calculations or aggregation, and each snapshot captures the state of the source of data and links to the previous versions, which creates a full lineage of how emissions data has evolved. And then speaking of audit readiness, another new capability is reporting period lock. So sustainability teams can now lock reporting periods at the organizational unit level. So once a period's locked, no one can make changes unless it's intentionally unlocked. So great for preventing things like accidental edits after submission deadlines, ensuring, what your auditors see is exactly what was submitted. So it aligns well with some of the frameworks out there that organizations need to abide by. And then next, shifting to ESG data collection, which is often, one of the most painful points of sustainability work. Data comes from a lot of different sources. and coordinating all of that manually across dozens or hundreds of employees is really slow, error prone. So this data collection feature really streamlines this, lets practitioners create data plans or requests, assign data owners, track progress. So great for data governance. And then there's an update that's going to matter to a lot of technical teams building or maintaining these calculation models. You've got support for additional metrics within calculation models. Users can now calculate non-emission metrics and use aggregations as inputs to emissions calculations. So a lot of updates to strengthen the entire sustainability data lifecycle here, from collection to calculation to reporting, auditing, just a lot better accuracy with these updates and more control.
It looks like people will start getting access to all that goodness in March.
Yep, exactly. All in GA or public preview in March. And then last here, we've got some updates in BC that are exciting. So in February in public preview, BC is introducing custom agents using the agent designer. Of course, we already know all about agents, what they can do. We have the sales order agent and the payables agent in BC. And now in BC, we have the agent designer, which is a new experience for envisioning and prototyping agents. So users can now create and refine custom agents using natural language instructions. They can define their behavior. They can test agent profiles and permissions, and then safely experiment with these and BC data in a sandbox environment. So they can, really explore different scenarios, validate their ideas, and then build more confidence in those agents before actually moving to production. So, similar to what we do with Copilot Studio, you can build out instructions, write out prompts for your agent and use an agent designer to really define, refine, and test these agents and the instructions accordingly. Then,
Any idea if these actually run in part of the Business Central code base, or if these actually are Copilot Studio agents under the covers that just get surfaced there? How any of that works, or is it too early to tell?
It's too early to tell. I couldn't tell from reading this.
Okay, good enough.
Yeah. But it's got the tools like troubleshooting built in to fine-tune your agent execution. So users can really play with this tool before actually publishing it out. And it really makes it easy to customize and build out agents for specific business use cases. Then next, we have the ability to use AI resources for your Copilot extensions. So, this means avoiding the need to handle infrastructure management, updates, monitoring, troubleshooting, and maintenance of custom Azure OpenAI AI subscriptions. Publishers can extend Copilot in BC and tap into Microsoft Managed Azure OpenAI resources right out of the box now. So customers don't have to set up or maintain their own OpenAI subscriptions. Using the built-in Business Central AI resources is going to be the default and recommended path here. And then just a few other pieces I'll mention here, the ability to calculate excise taxes. So, this takes a huge headache out of calculating these tax amounts by automating the whole process. It applies the right rules and rates for each product and region. And then last here, I thought this was pretty exciting. We have some new evaluation tools for the quality of goods and materials in BC. So this makes it a lot easier for users to stay compliant with industry standards, things like regulatory requirements as well. Quality checks can be built right into the way that users receive, produce, or assemble goods. And the extension comes pre-installed in new environments. And if you're upgrading, users can add it from AppSource. And once it's in place, users can get full control of when and how quality checks happen. So, for example, purchase receipts, they could run quality checks right after posting with or without warehouse handling. You can verify quality on finished goods in production, either manually or automatically through flushing. And then you can check assembled items, whether they're built into stock or built to order. And users can really fine tune these checks with a range of parameters and define the scope, whether you're checking individual items, item groups, lots, or specific serial or package numbers. Users can specify which attributes to measure, like things like weights, dimensions, or density. So it's a really comprehensive tool. It's a really comprehensive addition here. Some great tools that make it more flexible to manage your quality management in BC that fits right into existing workflows. And then last, we got a message from Message Center on the 19th that you should not update to version 10.0.46 until further notice for project ops. There was some regression testing and they found some bugs, so do not opt into those updates until further notice. And that's all I had for the F&O BC commerce side.
Awesome. A lot of good updates. And it looked like a lot of that BC stuff was in public preview now, and a lot of those things were going to become GA a little later in the spring. Does that sound right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention those dates there.
People could play with it a little bit starting, already.
Exactly.
Cool. Well, thanks, Lauren. I think the first show is a wrap.
All right.
So thanks, everyone, and we will see you all in about a fortnight. So 2 weeks from now.
Great. Thanks,
Good luck.
Bart.
Good luck surviving the storm. I'll try to stay a little bit warm too. It's 20 below here right now.
Appreciate it. Oh my gosh. Good luck.
Thanks. All right. Talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.